Agedashi Tofu. Agedashi Tofu is deep-fried tofu with a warm dashi and soy sauce-based sauce. For this one, we're going to need a few ingredients. We're going to start with medium tofu. We're also going to need, for our sauce, we're going to need our tempura dipping sauce, a little bit of sugar, a little bit of soy sauce, and a little bit of sake. To finish the dish, we're also going to need a little bit of thinly sliced green onions and a bit of ground ginger. So now to start the dish, the first thing we're going to want to do is we're going to need to prepare our tofu. We're going to take our one block of tofu and we're going to put it onto our cutting board. We're going to keep it long ways like this. And what we're going to do is we're going to start by cutting it directly in half. Then we're going to go ahead and take our halves and cut those into half. After we've done that, we'll go ahead and take it and turn it 90 degrees so that the lines are facing this way now. Then we'll go ahead and take our knife and we're going to cut into thirds. What we're trying to do is we want to come out with this one pack to have 12 pieces. After cutting into 12 pieces, we're going to take a container and then go ahead and just put our tofu gently into it. After this, we're going to add water, and we're going to rinse this about 2 to 3 times until the water comes clear. After that, we're just going to cover it so that the water just comes over the top of the tofu, and then we can store it for later use until we're ready to use it. We do this so that the tofu does not become dry. So now it is time for us to prepare our sauce. To prepare the sauce, we're going to need a little bit of sake, sugar, soy sauce, and our tempura dipping sauce. We're going to start by taking 1/4 teaspoon of our sugar and placing it into a pot. After that, we're going to go ahead and take our dipping sauce and we're going to add 1/4 cup of dipping sauce to our pot. After that, we're going to go ahead and fortify it with 1/4 teaspoon of soy sauce, as well as 1/4 teaspoon of sake. It's time for us to go ahead and put this on the stove, and we'll turn the sauce on right before we're ready to serve the dish, because we just want it warm. So now that our sauce is made and our tofu is prepared, it's time for us to get our tofu ready to deep fry. What we're going to do is we're going to need to set up a towel with a paper towel on top. We're going to use this so that we take any excess water from our tofu off before frying it. And then we're going to fry it in a mixture of 70% potato starch and 30% all-purpose flour. So what we're going to do is we're going to start by taking 5 pieces of tofu. I want them to be about the same size. After setting them here on the paper towel, we're going to fold the whole thing up and just very lightly cover it. And we're going to let it sit here for just a few moments. So now that our tofu has sat for a little bit, and all the excess water is now off of it, we're going to go ahead and put it in our mixture of starch and flour. We're going to coat all the way around them, and we're not going to tap any excess flour off for now. We're just going to go ahead and set aside. We're going to tap the excess flour off right before we put it into the fryer. That's the best. Now that we have all of our tofu coated, it's time for us to go ahead and put this into the deep fryer. So now that we have our tofu covered in starch, it's time for us to go ahead and start frying the dish. We're going to take our tofu and give it a nice little tap to make sure any excess starch is off. And what we're going to do is we're going to start by taking the largest piece first, and dropping that into the fryer. And then we're just going to go ahead and drop the rest of the pieces in. The key to this is to fry and pull them out when they're golden brown. And you'll also notice that the edges are nice and puffed out, and that the tofu has a nice, firm, crispy outside texture. Also, you can hear a change in the sound. It becomes a lot more violent and high-pitched to the sound. And when that happens, you know that your agedashi is ready to be served. And also, once you drop your tofu, make sure to go ahead and turn your sauce on. So we're getting close. We're starting to get a little bit of a golden color, but our edges haven't puffed up quite yet, so we're not quite ready. So we're getting close. We can slowly start to hear a change in the sound. So now that we have a nice golden color, it's all nice and crispy and our edges are puffed a little bit, our tofu is ready to be served. So now that our tofu is done frying, it's time for us to go ahead and plate the dish. We're going to start by taking our largest pieces first and laying them down corner to corner here. We'll then take our next largest pieces and lay them in the opposite corners. This will allow us to give the most even amount of base possible for it, and that everything will look the most even. Then we're going to take our one final piece, lay it directly in the middle. After we have done that, we'll go ahead and take all of our sauce that we've just finished warming up, and we're going to pour it into the side of the dish. We don't want to pour it over the tofu, we want to pour it just to the side of it, so that it sits in the sauce. After this, we're going to take green onions. We want to take a fairly generous amount and make a nice big pile here on the centerpiece. After that, we want to take a nice generous amount of ground ginger, and we're going to place that directly next to the green onions. After this, our dish is ready to be served, and we're going to serve it with a nice soup spoon. So now we're going to go ahead and make tempura dipping sauce. For our tempura dipping sauce, we're going to need dashi, soy sauce, and mirin. No matter how much we're going to make, we're always going to use the same ratio. It's always going to be 4 parts dashi, 1 part soy sauce, and 1 part mirin. This sauce is very simple. We're just going to go ahead and take all of the ingredients, combine them into a pot, and then we're going to go ahead, take this pot, and we're going to put it onto the stove and bring it to a boil. Once we've brought it to a boil, then we can go ahead and serve it or put it into storage for later use.